So today we're going to answer the question, are duelists dying in Valorant? And we're going to take a look at DRX versus DAMWON Gaming on Ascent to answer that question, because neither team played a duelist and both teams played triple initiator on Ascent. Very interesting, different game. And we're actually going to start off with just some sort of concept things, right? How do you make no duelist work on a map like Ascent? Because I did a video a while ago now about 100 Thieves not playing a duelist on Ascent, and they got 13-0'd by the guard. So how on earth do you make it work? And it all comes down to angles of attack, okay? And making defenders wonder about different angles. For instance, if we take a Jet, for instance, and say, we were just going to 5-stack towards B main and go in, we can do this with a Jet, right? The Jet would probably send a cloudburst out here, dash in there, very common thing, and then the rest of the team, would follow in behind. And the thing is, this works because this makes it, for these three players here, they have to worry about the Jet. And the longer that this Jet lives, that allows this space for the other players on the team, to then start getting the trades off with the Jet and start killing them as well, creating these different angles for the defenders to worry about. But if we take this Jet away and replace it with a Sova, for instance, then we don't have any space creation at all, and these defenders can now just stare down at this little choke point here and just mop you up, right? Just completely spray you down. Your utility usage is going to have to be insanely good to try and get past this choke point, because they can literally just spam it constantly, because there is no space creation. So that is a very important thing, and this is why, before it didn't really work, and you have to have a good understanding of what you're doing, and we're going to see in the game that DRX do. And the way that you do that, the way you create a different angle of attack, is use the different lanes available to you on the map. So what we're going to see a lot of DRX do here is they're going to use mid very heavily in their attacks, right? Because they need to create different angles of the attack. So if they can get this instead of 5-stacking B main, for instance, then they can make it work, because these defenders now have to worry about multiple angles again. So that is what you kind of need to do when you're playing this no duelist comp, and we're going to see DRX really lean into this. Not once during this game attacking on Ascent did they ever put more than three people in like B main or A main. Never at any point. They went so heavy into mid because they understood that with this comp, that is exactly what they needed to do. And let's start with round number 4. And what we're going to see from DRX is something that they very commonly did, and that's send 3 people towards mid with 1 on either side towards each main position. And they pretty much sent 3 or 4 people towards mid. You can see they smoke off mid here and they walk across towards short. We're going to get a prowler towards A main. We're actually going to destroy a dart in mid, and that is actually the cue for this KO to do this really well-timed flash, who then gets a kill off the back of that. Does get traded, but then actually the chamber from mid after that smoke fades then gets a kill on MaKo as well. So they actually end up in a 3v4 here, but they manage to recuperate the situation because Stack sends out this prowler, catches the omen, and then takes a risk by pushing the one way and getting that kill there. So really well played by him. And now what's going to happen is this chamber is going to destroy this trap on B. And this is going to create a big problem, right? And this is one of the advantages of having these people, all across the map, is that once chaos has started, you can kind of take advantage for it. And this chamber, is in a big situation now, because this chamber could have gone anywhere, right? Could have gone back off of that, could have gone towards the B site, as we know now, or could have pushed through potentially. And so it just creates a massive question mark for this chamber on all of the map. Right, it just creates a massive problem for this chamber overall. And you can see starts looking in different directions and ends up just posted up in this corner, looking towards spawn, because that's where he thinks it's gone. But they're going to have a really cool idea with this fade, because they send in the fatal towards A. It catches 1, they see that. You get the Sova dart pushed out there, but actually then they want to go B. But this is where DRX, I think, are way better than almost every other team. And that is their discipline, because they don't know where this chamber is, okay? And I think a lot of teams, this Sova with the spike would be like, hey, our chamber's just been living on B site. It's been there for ages, right? B site's clear. Let's go. But as we can see right here, had Zest just walked out here, he would have died. This chamber would have killed him. This would have been the spike down. They end up in a 2v3. They don't have the spike. They probably lose that round. But instead, they have the wherewithal to know there's probably 2 people still on A site, because we just ulted with the fade. So using this Sova drone just to make sure that everything else is clear, really wise. Don't take the risk. They feel like they're in control of this round, because they have the chamber pushed up so large. And so the chamber destroys this drone, but now is the time for that lurk to eventually pay off on this B site, because now the chamber obviously is staring down this Sova. We're going to get a free kill here on the chamber. from our chamber, and then now the B site is open for business, right? And just a really, really nice round from DRX and understanding, you know, how this round is going. As I said, even though it was a 3v3, they felt completely in control, and then the Silver's going to try and stop the plant, but Buzz is able to find that kill, so we end up in a 3v1, and if we just run this forward a bit quicker, eventually the Fade will come behind the breach from mid and be able to find that last kill. Really nice round from DRX, right? Even though it didn't start great for them, you know, they ended up in a 4v3, we get it to a 3v3, and then brilliantly tactically understanding where they were in that round and having that discipline to still use that Silver drone to make sure that that round would be won. And now let's come to the very next round, round number 5, and it's going to look much the same. This time they actually send 4 into mid, right? So again, they go for the early mid control, they smoke this off, they get the Fade Haunt in there. I love what MaKo does here. He actually recalls this star to just sneak up into there whilst the smoke is up. Really, really cool from MaKo. And so they take this early mid control. Again, all going into mid, right? And I just love the way that they push and pull this map. It's going to be super, super cool. Send the Prowler in towards B. They see that the op is on B. Okay, and so the idea now is, okay, the chamber with the op is on B. Let's not test that. Let's go to A instead. And you're going to see they wait for this plan to come together. So they drone in from here towards short to check what's there. The KO nades in response just here, so they can't really go any further. And so now they start devising this plan of, okay, let's go towards A. And so what they're going to do is take the time to allow this Fade to get back towards A main to create that second layer of pressure, right? So that they can pressure from both sides, like we talked about at the start of the round. And now it's going to be really cool because now you can see the rotates start to come into A, but actually now they're going to start faking that this is actually a B hit. And they do that by sending in a KO flash just here towards market, and they're going to destroy this chamber trap down there. And you can see that the breach and the Sova now start to rotate, right? They get very worried about this B hit, and they actually send in a breach stun as well to try and stop it. But what's actually going to happen is that's going to be the go signal to actually go towards A, right? The Fade is now sort of in position to ready to go to this, and the Sova and the chamber are in position to quickly make this an A hit, right off the fake B pressure. So they retreat there from B, and you can see that the Sova and the chamber start to come in towards this site instead. They send a Prowler towards this Omen as well in A main. But now they are going to run into some difficulties because this KO is going to ult. Okay, and so they don't have any utility to use to actually get in onto the site. And then also this Omen is going to go absolutely massive, by the way. He's going to flash, and I think it does actually just catch, who is it? Stacks, I think? Yeah, Stacks on the Fade here as well. And then he's also going to reposition. He's going to TP back into Wine there. And he's going to go absolutely huge in this round. But you can see the KO is ulting here. He's kind of still watching A main, but now he flashes down here. He senses the pressure. He gets one. He almost gets the second, but then gets killed. But this Omen coming back into Wine with the reposition, really nicely played, gets another one as well. RB's able to get a kill there onto the site, onto the breach, and now we end up in this 3v2. So it's not looking great for them, and in fact what's going to happen here is the Omen's going to get another kill, but then get traded out by MaKo. But here's the thing, DRX have MaKo, and MaKo is probably a top 10 player in the world, if not higher. I think MaKo is really, really good and probably one of the most underrated players in the world. He is insane at this game, and this is going to prove it here. He starts searching at the top here. His understanding of the angles in this game, because he knows that the Sova is in heaven because they had shot at the Sova. RB had seen the Sova there and started shooting at him, and obviously the darts come in here. So he knows the Sova's somewhere in heaven. So he starts checking this little area here, right? And he feels that the chamber is probably in short. So he starts just checking here, and then look, he finds the perfect little spot to where if that chamber isn't on the right side of heaven, he can't see him here. And so he just takes this fight on short, gets that kill, and now turns around, instantly knows that the Sova's going to be in heaven, and also kills him. Just an insane understanding of this game. MaKo is insane, but again, we see some of the push and pull, and even though actually DAMWON did pretty well on the whole to try and repel it, the Omen went absolutely huge. Great play by him as well, but still, MaKo is MaKo, and they win this round. And now let's come to round number 10, and this is an insanely cool round. It's actually a round that DRX lose as well. This Omen, again, is just going to go absolutely massive on the side of DAMWON, but let's take a look at it. So, again, it's the same thing, right? It's 3 in mid, they get the dart in mid, they smoke on this side again. MaKo does a little recall to get into this little corner here, and they take early mid control, right, with the one player on either side. Very normal, right? They've done this pretty much every round at this point, and so, you know, nothing seems different, and they're actually actually going to go droning in towards short here as well. You can see the drone starts to come in now. And of course, we know that that's not going to see anyone. They also destroyed this chamber trap. But then we're going to get something very interesting coming in here as well, in that the KO is going to knife this. Okay, and this is kind of information for DRX. You might not think it, but it is, because this knife here, and obviously these players can kind of hear it and see that it's in there. This knife tells them that, I mean, they just droned it, but now it confirms that still no one is in here. Because if there were, you know, why would you knife this? Right? You wouldn't need to, because you can just see that no one is there. Right? So there would be no real reason to knife here. If you were this KO and you were sitting here, you'd knife back here instead to get, you know, a bigger picture of what's actually going towards short, right? But because you're knifing actually in short, it probably tells them that, okay, this KO isn't there. And you can see they've actually pinged off towards a site. And I would bet that they're probably saying this KO probably threw that from quite some way away. They can also somewhat see that this nade has kind of missed. Again, a little clue that no one is really this close, because this KO, you know, would have thrown this nade probably a bit further than this, because this is a bit of a wasted space, right? So all these little clues just going to DRX, and they use that, right? Because again, they're gonna run this little fake towards B. What they're gonna do is they're gonna send the Prowler out here from the fade just to clear B main again, right? So that they can run this fake, and they send the KO up there as well. So there comes the Prowler, and that forces the chamber off B main. And so now they send in this fade haunt, and the KO starts shooting the door there. And again, it's gonna have the same effect on DAMWON, right? That, oh, fade haunt, KO shooting the door, hey, they're coming B. So these guys start to rotate again there. But now again, the hit is actually going to come towards A. But we're going to see a great little omen play here. But you start to see all the tactical elements that are just coming into this game. But I see there is going to be a bit of a problem for them here. And that is the fact that this is a chamber and not the fade. Because here's the problem. These two players are going to come onto A site. This omen is going to do amazing again, because he's going to flash them and manage to kill them. Right, do really, really well here, this omen in this little position. And the thing is, if this is the fade, right, they can send out a Prowler here and see where this omen is. But because it's the chamber, Buzz here just, you know, he doesn't feel comfortable just like dry peeking, because he doesn't have any idea where this omen is, right? He could be close on the wall to him, he could be in wine, he could be where he is, right? And he doesn't know. So he doesn't just want to go dry swinging it, he wants to wait for the contact of his teammates, but they get flashed and die by the time. So you're going to see exactly what I mean here, that because it's the chamber, he's just going to be a little late into trading this. You see there goes the flash from the omen, really, really nice. He's able to actually get 2 kills, and then Buzz trades it out, right? Because he had to be that bit late, because he can't clear it on his own. He has no utility to do that. So really, really well played by the omen, and now they run into trouble, right? The spike is on site, and now, you know, DAMWON know what's going on, so they start, you know, just getting picked off essentially by DAMWON in these different positions. Really well played by them, in particular that omen, again, just coming in absolutely massive. Stacks is actually going to manage to get 2 kills in this situation. I was thinking, oh please God, don't let him win this, but he doesn't. Yeah, but just, again, a really nice round. I think you start to see some of the tactical elements that go into this. The DRX, again, played a very good tactical round on the whole, but it was just that omen, again, just going absolutely massive. Great flash timing by him, and because it was that chamber in A main, you know, they just couldn't quite get there in time to punish that omen. And now let's come to the very next round, and you're not going to believe this, but look how they start. They start with some more mid-control. They send in the Sova dart, they send in a KO knife as well. They get the smoke down, and hey, look, mid-control. This one's going to be a beast, but this is a very interesting round, I think, as well, because in this instance, actually, they give up a lot of mid-control DAMWON, and they go for some aggression on B main, where we send out the Prowler there from Stacks, and here's the op, and so he thinks that's his time to go. He sends in another Prowler that gets shot, but actually he runs into 2 people, but he's able to actually find that kill. And you know, we end up in a 5v4. Whilst that's going on, they have actually upped the pace in this one. They tried to come mid a bit quicker now, especially after that kill. So they start to go in. The chamber actually TPs away, right, and comes to the back of the B site. And we are going to see some of the problems that you can have, particularly on this B site on ascent. But what they're going to do is they're going to send in this flash through the smoke, and they end up coming in onto the site, right? And so the breach retreats back in onto the site, and this is kind of a problem that they can have. They also get flashed by the omen there, but you know, they sort of just stick around on the site and just kind of wait and mill around for a bit, and then they try and go pushing in, but Texture finds the kill with the op. So now they know that there's 2 people on this site, right? But they have a really good idea, and again, we're going to see DRX's patience come out big here. They pick up the spike, and they're just going to mill around because they can see that Buzz is going to be able to wrap around and maybe get a kill here. So they actually drone out down here, but just stay there. right? They just sit in this very weird position where they're on site, and they are in a bit of a pickle here because this B site is basically, you can take this, right, which they did quite successfully, but then you also have to kind of take a second part of it as the defenders fall back here, kind of, you know, in towards the actual site itself. So, you know, that is a bit of a problem with this kind of comp, trying to get in onto this B site, is that it's going to be difficult to have the speed to be able to, you know, really get in deep onto the B site and get the spike down, you know, in time. So they just wait, right? And they just actually wait for Buzz here to come behind and get a free kill. And so now, but now they still have the same problem, right? They still really can't get in, and we're going to see them, you know, have that problem. And the texture hits a collat, and the Breach is able to get one before being traded by MaKo, and so we end up in a 2v1. But again, I really just wanted to show some MaKo highlights because the way he plays this is absurdly well. The KO actually doesn't know how, you know, close MaKo is, and he's actually backing up to the KO, so he's actually able to find this first kill pretty much for free. But then the way that MaKo plays this 1v1 is absolutely giga brain, like unbelievable brain. Okay, so he's gonna come and close the door, which I guess a lot of people might do, right? It's gonna tell you if they come short. And he's going to plant the spike. But then he's going to put down an Astral. But not just any Astral, a very interesting Astral, okay? And we get this cool split screen that they do in Korea because they play on LAN. And so he puts down the Astral here, and you could just see it, and it's just where the spike is. So actually the chamber can see where the spike is planted, right? Because of this ring here. But he plants himself in front of the Astral, okay? So he's just sitting on our side of the wall, close to the chamber here. So the thing is, this chamber with this Astral probably thinks that he has a free drop down, right? The Astra can't hear the sound behind this wall, so I can just drop down for free. But MaKo, of course, can hear him drop down. So MaKo knows the chamber, once he drops down, is either going to go towards him and probably be caught off guard by the fact that MaKo is there, or he's going to come towards the spike instead and, you know, start clearing that. So MaKo, if he hears the drop, he knows I'm either in a fight in the next second, or if a fight doesn't come, I know that he's gone there, and MaKo will probably sneak around the back instead, and almost certainly will win the round because the chamber does not expect MaKo to be here. Absolutely giga brain, and let's see how it plays out, because the chamber does drops right into MaKo, who finds the kill. Super well played, that 1v1 clutch by MaKo. And then this is the best part, he doesn't even react. He does not care at all, which I think makes it all the better. But yeah, really well played by MaKo there overall. But then finally, let's come to round number 18. And so DRX are on the defensive side now, and DAMWON are on the attack. And in this instance, we're going to see DAMWON, who also aren't playing a Duelist, don't forget. They're going to just try and 5-stack run into B. And let's see how that goes for them. And this is what I was talking about, how DRX, they understand the comp that they're playing. They understand exactly what they had to do to win this game with the comp that they are playing. And it's a problem that a lot of teams have. That a lot of teams will play weird comps, but they don't play how they should with those comps. DRX have a good understanding, but DAMWON here, you know, they try this 5-stack and B main, and this is pretty crazy how this round goes, because they're actually gonna KO ult, okay? So now DRX don't even have any utility, okay? There's 3 of them kind of close, but they don't have any utility at this point. So Zest gets the first kill, okay? But then they send in the Breach ult as well towards Zest in the site there. So they've used the KO and Breach ult in this round, sorry, and well, just look at what's going to happen, because we get the Astra suck in there as well, and this is the problem with no Duelist, right? That sure, the Omen was able to get a bit further onto site with a TP, but then he dies, and now everyone just ends up running in, right? And they just start dying because it's so easy for the defenders, because they're all just looking at one space, right? It's what I talked about at the start of the video, is that all these defenders can just literally just look at this angle and just spray it, right? They know that people are going to be there because that's the only position that they really can be in. And the one kill that actually they managed to get, the first kill they got in the round there, was actually from the Omen, you know, being the one agent who was able to get into a slightly different position and get a bit further in onto the site. You know, that was how they got that first kill. So even though the fact that they used a KO and Breach ult in this round, they still got massively shut down, because when you go as just a big stack here with no Duelist, no space creation, it's just so easy for the defenders to just, you know, spam you down. And so overall, you know, as more and more teams go away from Duelists, I think, you know, watching DRX and how they played it here and understanding, you know, how they played the map, they managed to win 7 attacking rounds on Ascent with no Duelist. That's pretty good. And yes, some of it did come down to having MaKo, but still, that's pretty good. They only lost 1 defensive round as well. They ended up winning this game 13-6. Very well played with them, and I think it just shows that having that understanding, that tactical depth to your game, is going to come in big, particularly if you want to do something weird like they did here with triple initiator, no Duelist.